All right, guys, that there is my boy, Ryan McBride. We have a long history together. I remember when Ryan first approached me and he was thinking about going into law enforcement. And I was already, fairly far through my career. I think I'd been, in law enforcement over 10 years, maybe even 12 years at the time. But it was interesting because he described what he wanted to do. And I immediately knew that we had a door-kicking badass here. And I said, dude, go to Vegas, test there. You're going to be busy. Get on that SWAT team and just let it happen, man. This is... If there was a guy that was made to be a SWAT operator his whole life, this is the guy. So it's been really fun to watch Ryan, to watch his whole career. I'm so grateful that he came on the show with us today. Now, we're just going to, again, this is one of those videos where we scrape the surface. He's going to talk to us a little bit about what SWAT is and what it takes to become a SWAT operator, what the process is. But mark my word, Ryan will be a co-host on this channel on more SWAT-related videos, as well as breakdowns on shootings and tactical critical incident management. So, that said, guys, let me welcome Ryan McBride. And Ryan, just, thanks for coming on. And can you start out by just giving us just maybe a really quick history of, where you came from as far as law enforcement goes to where you're at now?
Sure. Thanks for having me on. It's always an honor to hang out with Dave, and you make me feel like I'm some type of an expert, but come on now. So my career began in 2004. I went down and was lucky enough to work for a major police department in Southern Nevada. Did 5 years there, had a great experience, worked patrol. Got in some critical incidents, learned a lot, had a lot of great leadership that I learned from, some fantastic guys, and got to work some intel down there in tradecraft as far as a little bit of UC operations, organized crime, and some counterterrorism, and then had an opportunity to lateral up to Utah, where I work for a major law enforcement agency in northern Utah, and I've been there for almost 11 years, so almost total about 16 years. In Utah, I had the opportunity, obviously, to work patrol and go to the gang unit. I was on a federal task force almost for 7 years on that gang unit there. Got to work with a lot of different agencies, fantastic opportunities, and then at the same time, I was able to make it onto the SWAT team, and I've been there approximately 9 years now, and I'm currently one of 3 SWAT team leaders. There's a full-time SWAT team leader and then 2 collateral team leaders, of which I am one of those. So that is, in a nutshell, my career right now.
Okay, so that's Ryan. That's how he got where he is. But he's a great guy. He's humble. He has a lot of experience. To the extent that at one point I was in Afghanistan running a contract, a protective services detail contract, and guys were moving from our contract to the next one, and there was a gap where we needed to fill it, and I actually called Utah. I got Ryan on the phone. I said, do you have a top secret clearance, and would your chief allow you to come out here? It just worked out. He was allowed to come over and get some experience with us. So this is a guy I trust to have my back in any environment in the world. So that said, Ryan's a great guy. Now, what I'm going to ask you, Ryan, is this. You talked about going, you have these jobs in different divisions. So you worked in intel, you worked with the gang unit, you've done other things I know as well, but these are, so you're on patrol first, and then you have opportunity to move into specialized units. But I know that SWAT is highly coveted. A lot of guys want to try and get on the SWAT team, and there has to be a testing process. There has to be something that you do to qualify for that, and then I would imagine that there is an oral board. Now, I'm acting like I've never done this before. There is an oral board, trust me, because I've sat on it. But that said, can you walk us through what is the process for a patrol officer to move over onto the SWAT team? What are the requirements?
Sure. So I got to back up. I forgot two things. So right now, also, I'm a patrol sergeant, which is a fantastic job, and I am a breacher. So I'm the explosive breaching team leader as well. So I forgot to add on to that. So to answer your question, so you become an officer, and I remember asking this exact question to Dave and Dave's brother Carlos, who's a very well-known operator, fantastic breacher, and a mentor of mine. So what does it take? What do I have to do to make it on the SWAT team? And I'm sure that was kind of an annoying question to a senior guy, because they're kind of like, first you need to become a good patrolman. You need to be a student of law enforcement. And I used to ponder, what does that mean, a student of law enforcement? What it meant was you need to go to the most violent, active calls for service. And you need to be the person that shows up and that demonstrates leadership. So you need to be able to go to those calls and see a wider kind of purview of what needs to be done, not just you specifically, but everything from arriving, helping your guys work together, making it safe, utilizing correct tactics, everything that goes into that. That is what makes a good SWAT operator candidate, I believe. So, patrol is where it's at. Patrol is where things go from 0 to 1,000. And that is where you truly learn leadership and working under stress and how you do making decisions. So that's kind of the first step.
Can I interrupt here? You bet. So that Ryan brings up something really important here. I just want to make sure that you guys understand what he just described. He's saying that you have to have experience in patrol. And trust me, the people that are already on the SWAT team that are going to be interviewing all of these candidates, they're going to look into your background. They're going to look at your work history in patrol. They're going to talk to, fellow officers and supervisors and things like that. What Ryan was saying, I just want to drive this point home because it's so important. He described you being the best teammate that you could be, because he talked about you seeing the whole thing and then being able to either assist somebody or direct somebody. So someone that sees the whole thing and then jumps in is a good teammate. And I think that's really important that we understand what Ryan was saying in that first little part there was not only go on the craziest calls and get out there and show that, you have the courage to be there in the middle of the worst situation, but to do it on behalf of the other guys, make their life easier. I love that. Thank you for describing that.
So that would be the first thing is you need to be really good at patrol. That is where it's at. That's the foundation. And I would say, just to add on to that, they're operators I've worked with from the special operations community in the military, of which I have no experience. And what it takes, it seems like there's a correlation, and I'll talk a little bit about that, with military special operations and the selections they go through and the type of individuals that do well. It seems to be some of the same pattern in law enforcement with special operations. So we call SWAT as special operations. And what some of that, moving on from patrol, is the characteristics are you have to be self-motivated. If you need someone to motivate you, special operations, SWAT, whatever, is not the job for you. And when people come through SWAT school, like any selection that's hard, you see the fun, the hype, the excitement wears off really quick when you're getting your ass kicked, when you're destroyed emotionally, physically, and you have to draw on, why am I here? What is my real goal? Do I really want to do this? And so guys and gals that decide that that's not for them, that's what we want. So that principle that you have to really know, I will never quit. that is a key ingredient for SWAT, for a SWAT operator. So that's the first thing we watch for. So people that come in that are extremely physically fit, all of these things, they can prepare themselves. It doesn't really mean anything if under stress you quit. So we're looking for someone that will never quit. Second of all, being personally motivated. If you're motivated, you are going to be a good teammate. You're going to make sure that you are fit all the time. No one needs to tell you that you need to be physically fit. No one needs to tell you that your tactics need to be 100%. That your firearm skills and your hand-to-hand skills and your combat skills need to be 100%. No one needs to remind you to do that. Now, no one's perfect, but essentially that are the key ingredients. You're self-motivated and you will never quit. Then you are that type of leader and teammate that we can always depend on. That's kind of what I see, Dave, is help getting there.
Okay, so what Ryan did first is he described the characteristics, the character they're looking for in a SWAT operator. So Ryan, we've got a lot of stuff to discuss here in a short amount of time. Let me jump right to the next question then. So we understand that you're looking for someone that is self-motivated, someone that doesn't cut corners, someone that's going to be a good teammate. We get that now. The actual process, is there a shooting test? Is there a fitness test? Is there an oral board? So let's say that you have a candidate that has all those things. What is the actual 1, 2, 3 process to be eligible to be on the SWAT team list?
Gotcha. So first thing, you're going to have to qualify for a time and patrol. You're going to have to do your benchmark of time. You're probably going to have to put in a resume. So they're going to be checking your peers, right? What type of teammate was he? Then they're going to talk to your leadership. What type of person was he to supervise? They're going to check on those. And then there will be a physical fitness test of some sort. Usually that's not classified. Usually it's like, okay, here it is. This is the testing process, the physical fitness test. So you just make sure that you destroy that. Whatever they ask you to do, you need to be able to go in there and do it hands down at least twice as hard, I think. Then there may be, on top of that, an oral board. Usually there's an oral board. And in that oral board, there could be scenario-based questions. Or there could be questions about, why do you want to be here? Why do you want to be on the SWAT team? What have you done to prepare yourself to be on the SWAT team? And why are you the best candidate to be selected? And then there could be some additional specific questions pertaining to tactics. Usually they're basic. You're driving home from work and you see, an armed subject enter a 7-Eleven. Kind of what's your thought process? Something like that. So you need to be prepared to demonstrate that you have a good base in patrol. The other thing you're going to have to do, usually, is some type of firearms qualification. So as you can see, physical fitness, tactics, or working hard patrol, and some type of shooting qualification. That kind of, I think, totality, you're going to find that in every SWAT selection that I've ever heard of. Well, some bit of those ingredients will be in there. And I've had opportunities to talk with different operators from all over the nation, from different teams, and most of their selections have some of that in there.
So they're very interesting, to kind of segue into this next part, because Ryan was talking about how it differs in different places. I attended and watched and also participated in the SWAT qualification in Las Vegas, both at North Las Vegas and Las Vegas Metro. That was a brutal, physically demanding, I'm talking about the physical part, it was demanding, it was brutal, but they had, at least back in the day, the shooting portion was integrated to the fitness test. So it wasn't that you were just, trying to go through an obstacle course that was just putting your heart rate through the roof. Then at certain points in it, you were shooting. So you were shooting with an elevated heart rate. But I also attended both the SWAT school and the instructor SWAT school or advanced SWAT school with LA County SEB. And their shooting was not incorporated with the actual fitness test to get into the school. But that fitness test, again, I mean, at the end of it, I think Ryan nailed it. If you got to give 110% because everybody there is fit. And if you're trying to make a team, you want to stand out. And I can remember, as we would finish these fitness tests, you had nothing left. I mean, you were just happy to cross the line, and then it was just like, whoa. So anyway, fantastic. So, be fit, be mentally tough, the character that we talked about earlier. So that's kind of the process. You're going to have put in a resume, or put in a request to test for SWAT. You're going to run through these tests. There's going to be a background on your work history. So let's move away from kind of what that process is, and let's break this down to really basic. What does a SWAT team do? What do they do, Ryan? Here you were in Las Vegas. You were in a lot of situations there. You and I worked together a lot. I was on the SWAT team there, and I don't think really it's that much different here in Utah where you're at. You're in the biggest city in Utah. You guys are very active. What does the SWAT team do?
So I was never on the SWAT team in Las Vegas, but I got to learn from a lot of those guys. And being on the team here, where I work in Utah, and getting to talk with a lot of different operators, the job essentially is pretty much the same. So basically, as a SWAT team, your job is to serve high hazard or high risk search warrants. So that could be for the narcotics unit. It could be for the DEA, FBI, US, you name it, federal agencies, or just different agencies within your department. Usually there will be some type of point system or matrix that they come up with that says, homicide has a suspect that they have a search warrant for a gun that they think this person did a homicide with. They're going to task the SWAT team with serving that. The other one is barricaded gunmen, barricaded suicidal subjects, hostage rescues. And that's kind of the bread and butter of any good SWAT team is a hostage rescue. We train a lot for that. Another is just special arrest circumstances. So you have an individual who is just dangerous. Possibly they have an arrest warrant for this person, but it's not safe for detectives to go and get them, and they just need a little bit more of a team with a bit more training and tools. So they'll utilize the SWAT team. Another job of the SWAT team is dignitary protection. So dignitaries coming to the state, the president, you name it, whatever, foreign diplomats, it's our job to protect them. That's pretty much what a SWAT team does. And then, of course, we're always teaching. So we're tasked with teaching within the community active shooter response. Everyone, schools, hospitals, community outreach. That is our job. And consistently teaching and training the police department that we're in also.
Okay, so we have a better understanding of what a SWAT team would be tasked with. These situations that are, more high risk, more dangerous. They're critical incidents. Some of them are evolving. Sometimes these guys are called out of bed at 3 a.m. because you just give you an example. You've got someone that's committed a homicide. Now he's in his house and he's holding his, I'm just thinking of one I had an issue with in Vegas where a guy was holding his stepsister hostage and we had shots fired. So they're getting out of bed responding to that. So there are a lot of things that are going on, but why can't patrol do that? And so you don't have to answer that, Ryan, but why can't patrol do that? I'm asking you as the viewer. Well, because patrol is responding with, maybe a handgun. Maybe they are in an agency where they have an AR-15, but they do not have certain equipment. They don't have the opportunity to spend all of their free time training. So could you, Ryan, talk about, what makes SWAT SWAT? What does SWAT stand for, I guess, and then talk about the training and the weapons or other equipment that you have that makes you guys the unit they call when things go bad.
Sure, it's a good question. Sometimes this gets misconstrued, and I've definitely seen it where people are like, why can't just regular cops handle it? What's so special? And that is a good point. Right? There's fantastic operators that are patrolmen that decide that they never want to go to SWAT. So the difference is one, the selection. The guys that put themselves through a selection just to be put through a SWAT school, right? They endure a lot of torture, torment. It shows, like we talked about already, that they want to be a part of something a little bit different. So that's the first thing, is the selection, the selected type of guy. Second of all is the amount of training that we do. Right? We have hours and hours and hours of training that we, just to maintain our ability to be deployable on the team. And that is with tactics, all the things we talked about, all those different jobs we are having to do, focusing on hostage rescues, weapon systems, all the different weapon systems that we're utilizing, from our long gun, handgun, deploying gas, as explosive breachers. That's a whole nother area. Our sniper cadre, that's a whole nother area. On top of the regular hours that we're doing as a team, and clearing and all those different types of clearing and situations that we go to. So special weapons, right? We have those, and tactics. We train together as a team. Patrol, you may run up on a situation, you may have two guys. And so those two guys, they may never work together, right? You may have an afternoon guy and a grave shift guy, have to come together and try to do something that's really hard. Well, we have the benefit as a team of working together. I know my guys. They know me. Sometimes, you know each other too well because you're spending a lot of time training. And that's what makes the difference. And then obviously our weapon systems, right? We have different types of armor that we wear for different jobs. And that affords us a little bit more safety. But overall, really, it's the training. It's the guys that are selected and the amount of training that they have together. That together allows them to think through and solve super hard situations and incidents that other guys just don't have afforded the time to do.
Hey, that was a great answer, guys. And we don't want this video to go too long, but this can be a series here talking about SWAT. We are going to bring Ryan back because we're just scratching the surface of this. He gave us some very basic information, but I want to just kind of review on Ryan's last answer. He talked about what a SWAT team does. He talked a little bit about the special weapons and things like that. And guys, they're inside SWAT, which is already its own special division. Inside SWAT, you've got an explosive breacher. It's a team of guys. The math and the formulas that go along with blowing a hole in something without killing the people on the inside is very serious business. They're geniuses with this stuff. It's incredible. Then you've got snipers, and that's a whole nother video. And then you have guys who their job is 100% specifically entry, CQB, close quarter battle, moving and shooting in a tight, closed environment, meaning they may be rescuing a hostage. So, it could be something like this, guys holding a hostage, and they've only got a little window for a shot. We both know someone we're very close to that took that shot with a pistol and made it count. So it's incredible. There's so much more to talk about when it comes to SWAT, how they operate, what the equipment is, the training, the vehicles that they use, and it's not all just one weapon system either. So anyway, there's a lot more to talk about. We really appreciate your time with us today, Ryan. Thank you for coming on. And in closing, I just want to throw it back to you. What would you say to a kid? Now think about this real quick. Think of the conversation that I had with you before you were a cop. What would you say to that young Ryan McBride that has it in here, and he's like, dude, I want to do this? What would your parting advice be to him?
I would say never quit on that desire you have. If this is something that you want to do, every day, think about it. Keep pushing yourself. Be involved in athletics, in something that's hard. If you like running, run marathons, try to run an ultra, do triathlons, whatever. Push yourself not just physically, but also mentally. Do something that's hard. You set a goal and achieve something that you maybe don't think you can do. Other people will tell you, I don't know. If you want to do it, you do it. You don't listen to anybody else. Motivate yourself, and also go find people that have done it and pick their brains. If you're the guy picking people's brains that are actively on SWAT teams, and this is something you want to do, you're going to make it. You're going to be that person that is prepared. So just keep at it. Don't quit. Never quit.
Hey, that's awesome. You know what? As we close here, I got to tell you, Ryan was that guy. Dude, you bugged me. You asked more questions than anybody has ever asked. But man, I loved talking to you. This is even before you became a cop. I loved our conversations and just how hungry you were. And there wasn't anything I told you that you needed to work on that you didn't immediately go and execute. I knew you were going to do great things. Your team is lucky to have you, not just as a teammate, but as a leader. And we just want to thank you for coming on. So guys, until next week, we'll catch you on whatever the next video is that you decide to click on here. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends. All right. Take care.